Hello Comms 469 students. In this video I'm going to go through a few samples of excerpts to show you some common errors in in-text APA citation and how to avoid them. So here's the first sample. I'm just going to look at only the APA issues. Now this sentence has two quotations from the same website, and it's the MADD Canada website, and there's no author year reference. Okay, there's only we know that they're talking about MADD Canada, but for proper in-text citation we need author and year. We also need a precise locator for every quotation, and it's just not here. So that would be possibly two errors in ethics and clarity, which would give you a capital R in your margin, and you want to avoid those as much as possible because they have a high error to penalty ratio. They're ethical problems. So let's go to the website that contains this reference. I have it in my here we go. If I go browser, just going there in a second. Here we go. So the best way to do your references and citation is to collect all your information when you first find it. I use a notepad app that scrapes all of the information, all the formatting off of the text, so that it can be ready for pasting into my Word document. So I have this handy, and then I copy and paste into it. So the first thing I do is I create the reference, and I want to show you how to find the proper reference for this one. That's not the one I was showing you, but the MAD website, the author, I would look down here. That verifies the copyright symbol that it's okay to call them MADD Canada. Sometimes you can't call them by their acronym, and you have to use their full name, but the copyright symbol says that it's okay. It might be helpful for your audience to let people know what the acronym means the first time you introduce it into your text. Here you usually find the date as well. They usually give a copyright year range, sometimes 2011 to 2017 or something like that. You use the most recent year as the approximate date. And approximate means that you use the C period symbol in your reference list next to the date, which means circa. It's Latin for approximately, because we know that not everything on the website was first published in 2017, but 2017 is the most recent that it could have been published. Now, once we know the author name, we can distinguish that from the website title, which is just MADD, Saving Lives, Supporting Victims. It's got a tagline. That's the title of the website, not the author. And in order to find the quotations, because I'm the instructor and I check your references, I will look at keywords. So this quotation has keyword traffic. This one I'll search for the keyword network. Okay, so I Control F in here and I find out where they are located. There's network. Network is located under that heading, paragraph 4. So I used this notepad again to copy the heading into here. And then I do paragraph 4. Now the other was the word traffic, and that's under that heading. Now this is a very long heading, so if I want to save space in my citation, I could just quote the word impact in the heading. Oh, I forgot the word section. So I put the abbreviated heading, oops, impact, okay, and then the word section. There's only one paragraph in it, paragraph 1. So now I've got my two locators for my citation, and I've got to also figure out the best place to put the author and year. Because there's two quotations here, it's best to cite author and year first. According to, and then I'll put n.d. because there was no date. We looked around for one and couldn't find one. Okay, according to MADD Canada, no date, the organization was formed. And this is where we put the citations after each quote. I just wanted to show you where the punctuation also goes in relation to it. You have the word and here, and this is actually a compound sentence, which means that on both sides of and, there's a complete sentence. So we do normally need a comma before and, because it's joining two complete sentences. But when we put the citation there, the comma goes after the citation. Let's grab the citation for that. Okay, now that's there, it's complete. And then this one here can go before the period. It doesn't have to go directly after the quote. That's this locator. Okay, so now we have the ethical locators in there for every quotation. Forgot the comma, goes right there. And then we have the author date. Notice that I didn't have to repeat MADD Canada and .d. here because it's already in the sentence and it's clear which source it's being cited. And the date always glues itself to the author name. So this prevented repetition of author date, and this is not the author, it's a heading, remember? So we're not repeating the author, we're using a heading as part of the paragraph locator. Okay, so that is an important overview because sometimes even finding the right information takes a little clicking around or looking around the web page to find out the information to cite. I'm going to search now for other reference errors within this set of samples, and here's one. Okay, this one is the Fair for Canada campaign, trying to convince people that the new player of Verizon would be getting perks, according to the Toronto Star. So I know that a lot of news articles are produced by Associated Press or CBC News or the editor of a newspaper or news organization, but not always. They often name the names of the journalists as the author. So I'm going to go to the web page that I have already in my paste here, and we're going to go to this one. This is from the Star. This is what's being cited. There's the title, and underneath the caption for the image we have the authors of the actual article. So I'm going to copy and paste that in, and I believe I already have this sample. Yes. Okay. So here's what it would look like once I cleaned it up. I first create a reference because the reference tells me how the in-text citation should look. And I usually copy paste because I can otherwise get errors in spelling people's names. And it has a different order of the date. If you notice, it says on the web page August 16th, 2013, and here it needs to be reversed for the reference list. And it needs the word article. That's optional but recommended. Toronto Star will go eventually in italics, but this is a non-formatting notepad. And then you have the URL here without any retrieval date because it's a stable article on a stable web page. So this is the author year that will link to this reference. Now that we have the proper author year citation, Campion, Smith, and Whittington, we have to replace that. If we want to tell people that it's from the Toronto Star, of course we can do that, but it would be in addition to the proper author names. And we also have an ethical problem because this phrase is from that article and it's not in quotations and it's not given in locator. So even if I look up bandwidth on that page, Control F, There it is. Okay, so this has been lifted unethically without marking it with quotation marks. And so I would do that, and I would find out, okay, well, how do I cite it by section and paragraph? So it is luckily within a section called the Clash Over Consumers. So I can use the words the clash and then paragraph number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, paragraph 6. Okay, I put my quotation marks. And then I put in the clash section, paragraph 6. And you notice that the period goes here because that's the end of your sentence, and it doesn't go there anymore. It moves to include the parenthetical citation. So now that's proper. Okay, so now you get the idea through 2 examples about how to find that information. Let's find another problem. Okay, well, here's one. This one is talking about an entire website, and I believe that's done elsewhere. When you talk about an entire website, APA wants you to cite their domain URL right away. So you would do something like that, and you would put the title of the website, oops, not underlined, just italics. Okay, because this is not citing, well, I hope not, citing particular quoted phrases or ideas from a particular page. If it was, you'd have to tell people that you are citing a particular page. Okay, so it's okay to have this next to the website and this if your sentence is citing particular words and ideas from a particular page. As soon as you have a particular page of a website, you need the authoring year. Okay. So let's see if this one here is actually the Consumer's First website has been taken down, so I can't even show you that. Let's move on. Here is a Herrick citation, and I've asked you not to cite from the glossary, and I can tell already that this page number is from the glossary. It's also citing phrases that should be contained in quotations. Whenever I see a page number, I think, well, did they forget to put something in quotation marks? Because page numbers go with quotations. That needs to be spaced. This needs to have commas. But ideally, you should be quoting from a particular chapter and some more specific ideas, not something like so general as pathos that everyone reading this who's part of the target audience, your target audience is people who already know the basics about rhetoric. So use your citations for more specific ideas and then actually make use of those more specific ideas. This one here has the same problem with multiple quotations. They're missing a locator. Every time you have a quotation, you need a locator. So I assume this is from a particular page on the Fair for Canada website. Let's see what else we need. Yeah, not every quotation begins with a comma, and they've done a semicolon here, which is incorrect. Oftentimes you introduce a quote by having a complete sentence and then following it with a quotation as if it's an example. And in that case, you would replace the semicolon with a colon. A colon means here comes the proof of what I've just said. A semicolon is only used when there's balance on both sides, like a complete sentence on both sides of a semicolon. And that wasn't the case because here this is not a complete sentence that is independent. It's proof of the previous phrase. So this is the logic you need, is a colon. So that can help you with punctuating your quotations, your citations. Okay, so this would have paragraph number. You don't always need a section heading. Section headings are there to make it easier to count the number of paragraphs. Otherwise, you always have to count paragraphs from the top of a document or web page.